Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Nuclear Revenge. In today's episode, ruined a marriage and my family for revenge. Oh, you want to cut in line? You need HDMI cables. Sure, I'll photocopy 20 incorrect induction forms for you. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Ruined a marriage and my family for revenge. I've always been the black sheep of the family. Cousins grew up to be doctors, professors, creatives, and whatever else. Meanwhile, I've managed to just make a humble, stable, passive income through some business decisions, nothing fancy, but I can afford a one-bedroom in NYC and live comfortably with that and a part-time job in a cafe. Everyone in the family, including my own parents, judge me harshly for not pushing myself to do what my cousins do, especially my one cousin we will call Randy. Think the stereotypical dude bro who got rich thanks to working for his dad, multiply that by 10, and you got Randy. Anyway, he always gave me the most shit, and eventually I just tuned them out cause I get to enjoy my life with work part-time and still afford what I want. So, to cut the bullsh*t short, Randy has a wife and 2 kids, he also had a mistress. I found this out cause one day when I was walking through the city when I saw him walking down the street with a woman who clearly wasn't his wife, arms around each other. I checked Facebook and saw he had indeed posted about visiting a bagel shop in the city while on a business trip that morning, so we had indeed in the city. So, I decided F it, let me see how this plays out. I followed them for 5 hours, snapped several photos, one of them going into a hotel together. I held on to these and waited until Christmas that year, about 6 months later. I decided to unceremoniously drop printed photos in front of everyone at the table before dinner, and made sure to get his wife to see them. Cue screaming and fighting, I actually got a black eye out of it. It was Randy's dad who did it though, not him. Cue police, a lot of questioning, and I get kicked out. We head back home after talking to the cops one last time. The aftermath. Besides Randy's wife and another cousin who hates Randy, my family cut me off entirely for several years. Whatever, even my parents had always expressed disappointment in me for not applying myself fully, so no real loss there. Randy got divorced. Lost full custody of the kids after threatening his ex. Family occasionally tries to guilt me into apologizing, but my response is some variation of not gonna apologize for outing a cheating, and I'm promptly blocked for another few months. So and Randy's ex-wife are good friends and the kids call me Uncle Nick, having a family who actually loves me unconditionally for once. So when I got married, and that's when my family last tried to get into contact with me, and were actually nice for once, seeing me moving on I guess eats at them ick. Maybe realizing their punching bag is gone for good. That's it really, living my best life now with a good family as opposed to a sh*T1. Oh, you want to cut in line? When I was attending university, in the cafeteria, the cashiers had those 2-line checkout areas. You know, the ones that are made to shorten the line, not the number of people. The cashier takes the person on one side, then on the other. I joined the line of 4 to 5 people. There's no left or right thing happening because it's like 8 p.m. We're just quietly in line. When I become the second person in line, about 3 to 4 people are after, some guy walks up to the opposite side like it's his turn next. No one else seems to have a problem with this. I speak up and say, hey man. There are other people in line. You can't just step in front of them. He responds with something like, there are 2 lines. No one was in this line. This entitled prick starts to piss me off and I start laying into him. The cashier is starting to get uncomfortable and says, I'll check you out before him. I do a quick think and reply, okay, as long as you check me out before him, I'm good. I go serene and the entitled prick does too. I look at the person behind me, and the next words that come out of my mouth are, "You can go next." I did this till the few people that were waiting patiently had gone through the checkout process. I paid for my food and thanked the cashier as we mutually smiled at each other. The prick was still standing there all pissy. Double malicious compliance. You need HDMI cables. GameStop, that means stock, has a trade-in program for video game consoles. I went to trade in an older Xbox, and I was told they would only accept it as defective because I didn't include an HDMI cable, which was not in the box when I bought the console. I had to buy it separately. Their public information about trade-ins simply said something to the effect of you must include all the stuff that came with the console. Several rounds of pointing out the ludicrousness of this later. Well, do you need batteries for the controller? I didn't include those. / no we don't of course. / why not? / I went back home, console in hand to get an HDMI cable. Well, what do you know? I happen to have a 6"/15 cm long HDMI cable. I got to hook up a cable box to a receiver sitting directly above it. Both receiver and cable box are long gone. And now GameStop has a 6 inches HDMI that they'll have to replace before they sell it to someone else. Hope that was worth it, GameStop manager Brad. Sure, I'll photocopy 20 incorrect induction forms for you. Okay, background. So I work security at a place I won't name. One of our duties is to make sure any contractors working on site are inducted. This is done by having them fill in a pretty basic multiple choice question sheet which takes a couple of minutes. It's not much of an induction, but it covers basic safety stuff. Anyway, our security office is pretty small, so normally we give people the paperwork and send them away to fill it out. They can even email it to us if they want. Of course, the contractors love this as non-English speaking workers are pretty common, and we tend to get stacks of inductions coming back with eerily similar handwriting and sometimes the same mistakes. I've raised the issue before, but if management doesn't care, then why should I? Believe me, I've gotten into scraps with my immediate manager before about how lazily things are run and nothing is ever done. So I've stopped caring as long as it doesn't get too insultingly obvious. So yeah, one day it got pretty insulting. We get a guy coming who's a little ballsier than usual. He's got an induction sheet already filled out and asks me to photocopy it 20 times. To be clear, all the questions have already been answered. He basically just wants his crew to sign their names on it. I obviously say no because even I have some standards, but my manager insists that I just do it. We get into a little argument. My manager takes me aside and basically gives me a rundown of how sick and tired of my sh*t he is. My sh*t being that apparently I'm the only one who complains about the low standards of our work, and how it would make everyone on team liable if anything ever went wrong. He tells me to just photocopy them, and that's that. Okay, so I give up. Go to photocopy the inductions. As I do, I realize that it's actually the wrong induction sheet. I don't know where he got this particular form from, but it has 14 questions instead of 12, and on top of that, for questions, a full third of this very simple induction are incorrect. Nice. So I photocopy the inductions and hand them over. Sometime later we get 20 inductions scanned and emailed to us. Holding in my laughter, I reply to the email, CCing in our higher-up manager as is procedure. Informing them that not only is every single induction riddled with a large amount of errors, but that they also appear to be identical, and that it's not even the right form to begin with. Within minutes we get a call from our higher manager wanting to speak to my immediate manager. I can't hear what's being said on the other side, but my immediate manager says that he photocopied the inductions, and I hear muffled screaming coming over the phone. My manager then nervously backtracks and says that I photocopied them. The phone is passed over to me, and I tell my higher-up manager exactly what happened. The phone goes back to my immediate manager and the screaming resumes. My manager ends up taking the phone call in the back room for about 10 minutes. When he comes out, he's obviously shaken and passes on to me that group of 20 contractors will now be instructed to come in one at a time and fill in the paperwork in person while my immediate manager supervises them. Since then, my manager seems to have suddenly become very concerned with occupational health and safety. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.